How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Voodoo Vince here. We're back in the World of Warships, and we're going to be running the Jean Bart, the Tier 9 Premium French battleship, in ranked battle. And this game, it's on Epicenter game variant, and it is good and bad for one reason. I got a Kraken. That's 5 kills, as you already know, and there's 6 bad guys on the team. So it's good because I got a Kraken, but it's also bad because I had to get a Kraken to win the game, which showcases what can happen in these crazy rank battles at Tier 9. So let's go ahead and get into it. I already uploaded the video previously of just the gameplay, which is pretty good. It's solid, but I wanted to go into what I was really doing during the actual fighting. So for Epicenter, I always push the flanks. I do not like initially fighting into the cap zones. You limit a lot of your fire angles, you limit a lot of your maneuverability. You're not setting the engagement. The enemy's setting the engagement with you. So I begin to push the flanks. I go with or without support. It doesn't matter. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. And that's just what I do. Now, in the Jean Bart, you can get away with a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of armor. It's very quick. It's got the reload booster. The HE hits hard. The AP punch is quick. I mean, it's just a solid big boat. But you guys most likely already know that. So I continue to push the flank here, and a Donskoy pops up. I go to make my shots, and I end up popping my reload booster, and I really just brick the shots here. He was moving a lot slower than I thought he was, and I just don't end up landing any rounds. So it made me switch to AP. Really, I probably should have just made the shot that I had. So I made the shot, switched to AP, shot, missed. I shot one more time at where I thought he was going to be at, and he had pretty much come to a stop, so I just bricked both shots. Not a very good way to start the match off. The enemy, pretty aggressive. They push into those caps and start doing it. One Seattle, El Mulo, who's up there at about C5. Keep tabs on him. He'll be important later. Get some shots on the Elise, but I've got AP loaded, and it really doesn't do a whole lot. At this point, I notice the Yugumo is south of me, which is good for me, because that means he should be spotting any torpedoes head my way if I've been detected, or any DDs or cruisers that are pushing the angle. But from what I can see, everyone's pretty much piled up in that one spot using the island to fight the other 2 ships, the primary surface vessels, the Iowa and the Seattle. One Yugumo split to my side, the other Yugumo's on their side. So I'm in a pretty good position here. Either the bad guys are going to have to engage me, in which case they're not engaging my friends, or they're going to engage my buddies, in which case they're not engaging me. So either way, we're doing well, and we're splitting forces here. The LA starts to push against me, but the Yugumo's throwing torps, which probably helps turn him around. If not, I convince him to turn around. Kitakazi's making a turn here. I go to put the guns on him, but obviously I've got an island in the way. So my main contingent of bad guys I'm looking to engage is everybody at G6. The Buffalo, the Donskoy, and the Iowa. So I have the Donskoy here. I make a shot at him. He's backing. I shoot center, but he ends up moving forward fairly quickly, and I only get a marginal hit on him. Yeah, just a couple rounds for 2,300. Still some damage. So I'm making a switch to HE. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, how far forward do I want to push? I pretty much have all their cover negated. There's really not a whole lot of reason for me to continue to push. I have HE loaded. The Elise is on the side. I'm going to throw what I've got in the barrels. So I send the HE to him. AP's loading. I forgot about my manual secondaries on this boat a couple times, so it takes me a little bit. I should have had a preset already, but it didn't. So at this point, I click them on. AP's almost loaded. I end up throwing a salvo at him, but by this time, he's got his angle on, and he negates quite a bit of the damage. Secondaries are kind of going back and forth. I'd run my reload booster in order to try and get a couple salvos at him. I send my AP on him, but again, he's angled. I get set on fire quite a few times, and you'll notice that I don't just immediately pop my damage control. I usually will pop my repair party first to negate the damage, and then if I need to, if I get multiple fires, 2+, I'll then pop the damage control. At this point, I was worried about torpedoes because the Fletcher hadn't been spotted yet, and I figured I had torpedoes coming my way. Slung some AP at the Iowa on a snapshot, which was kind of a whim there. So as you're looking through your targets, well, the Elise was the target I was shooting at, and he ended up angling. And so what I did was I was looking and looking and looking. I saw the Iowa, so I went and threw rounds at the Iowa. Let's roll that back just a little bit here. So we know that we weren't doing a whole lot of damage to the Elise. We fired some AP at him, and most of it ricocheted or didn't hit. We had 2 overpins, a pin, and and 1 ricochet, which did a little bit of damage, but not nearly that 9,000 hit with the HE from the sides. He's got the angle on. This Iowa, his guns are focused over here. He's not worried about me. He's not even thinking about me. He's focused on the fight that he's got going on. So from where he's at, he's looking over in the E7 area, the Iowa and the Seattle that's over there. He's not focused on me. So at this point, this is easy damage and a way to help my friends. I could stay focused on the Elise, but the Elise isn't shooting at me. Neither is the Iowa. So I'm going to get an easy broadside AP that's loaded on this Iowa here. So at this point, you see, boom, boom, make my shots. And now I'm going to go back to the Elise. The Elise is outside of secondary range. AP's heading out. Boom, I get a Citadel right there. And next thing I know, all of a sudden, here's a Buffalo and the Fletcher at the same time. So my immediate deal is the Fletcher is a priority. He's the biggest threat. He's got torpedoes. I need to get him off the field. So I set my secondaries, because when you're fighting anybody and the secondaries are coming at you, you're hearing the damage happen, but you're not necessarily just eyeballing your health bar. So you don't really know how much you're taking. You just know you're taking damage. And that's a bit nerve-wracking. So we're going to have AP loaded, so we're not going to try to change shells. We're going to throw what we've got in the barrels at him. So we go ahead and let that loose. We get a good hit on him for 4,700. And at this point, I've got 2 fires, but I'm going to stay moving forward. Fortunately, I was still moving forward, which is going to help me maneuver around some torps that we'll see here in just a second. My fire is down to 14 seconds. I'm still super healthy, and I'm kind of deciding who I'm going to shoot at. So I've got these torpedoes to worry about, so I'm going to make sure that I avoid these. I squeak through just barely. After I've done that, then I throw rounds at the Fletcher. He disappears just as it happens, but it doesn't matter. I throw the rounds at him anyway, and we get a good hit and a couple secondary hits. Now the Fletcher's no longer detected. Secondary's on the Buffalo, and we're wanting to get HE on him because he's bow in. At this point I go, this guy's low health. He's probably going to try and go for a ram. I can't afford to die over here because, you know, we're down a boat. We're down in points. I want to win. So he's at 7,400. We let loose on him. Hit him for 1,400. Not real good, but we set 2 fires. At this point, I've popped my speed boost, and I'm trying to back up as quick as I can. He's maneuvering. At this point, he probably spots the Yugumo that's with me, but fortunately he jams himself on the island. As you notice, I pick up to check his health, and I shoot at him again, and I only hit him for 969. Got another fire set, but I want to keep my damage control, because if he rams me, there's a good chance I'll live through the ram. And so when that happens, you got to just be tapping your damage control in order to survive the ram. So I'm sitting here, I'm aiming at his bow, and I go, no, superstructure, bigger target, bigger meat. Let him have it, get a kill. Whew. Stopped him. So now we're backing. We're kind of assessing what's going on here. And damage control or repair party pops up. So we go ahead and pop that. And we're down to 2 DDs and 2 BBs versus 2 DDs, 2 cruisers, and a battleship. Me. Yugumo's still with me, but the Fletcher's still out there. Cruiser's dead now, so I assume torps are probably on the way. Just as an assumption. They're not, but I assumed that they were. Fletcher gets spotted. Still have HE loaded, set secondaries, because he's just within range, but at the same time I may get within range. And I'm waiting for him to clear the island. Use my angle indicator. I know kind of what he's doing there. He repops again. Close the angle. He stops, and he pops smoke. So at this time, I get a single hit on him. Not anything crazy. Kitakazi's still out there at 18k. Everyone else is pretty much focused on that side of the map. Yugumo eats 2 torps. Not prepared, I guess. I don't know. And he dies. So now I'm alone on this flank with a frickin' Fletcher, and I go, well, that's about right. At this same time, I'm like, okay, well, it's still 4v4, you know, the game's still going. And I notice Mulo is, all of a sudden we lose our second DD. I notice El Mulo here, the Seattle just north of me, is in a horrible position. He's capping a central point, which is good. He ends up doing that, which is one of his only redeeming factors of the whole game. But overall, he's in a bad position. He can't do any shooting from where he's at, and now we've lost our other Seattle. Now it's 4v2. We're down to 250 points, and I go, well, great. So what I decided to do, and what I've decided to do in a lot of other games, is I could have backed up, got outside of the cap circles, but we'd have lost for sure. There's only 2 ways that this game ends, a win or a loss. In order to achieve a win, I know I need to kill all these guys, or at least as many as I can. At the very least, I need to cause as much damage as I can, because that helps me down the road get experience and whatnot. I at least need to maintain my star that I've got. So what I will do is I will attack. Now, we're not talking charge in and die like an idiot. We're not talking suicide. I'm talking attack with a method in mind, with a plan in mind. But what this does is that means that the enemy must react to you. They're not getting to just come and attack you. You're not hiding behind some island somewhere. They have to decide what they're going to do against what you're doing. So what you do is you now set the tone of the engagement. I go towards the smoke with the Fletcher. So is he going to sit in the smoke? Is he going to retreat out of the smoke? What's he going to do? He has to decide what he's going to do to fight me, not the other way around. Which is what you want. You want them thinking, okay, well, what do I do now? I'm going to clear this island. Am I going to shoot torps at him? Do I have torps loaded? How am I going to maneuver? How am I going to do my stuff? So I start pressing towards him here. And I assume what the Fletcher actually did was push south out of the smoke into the H5. I got detected by the boats on the other side of the map. And then he came back into his smoke. And when I first watched it, I thought that El Mulo actually helped me by popping radar. But actually, he was so late on the radar that I actually detected the guy by proxy. He was at 1.9 when he appeared, meaning I detected him. Mulo popped radar, and it wasn't even good. So at this point, I'm waiting on torps, and I noticed him because I was kind of just angling towards the smoke because I assumed he wasn't still sitting in it, but you never really can tell. Fortunately, he had a bad launch. I was at the right angle. I'd kind of been going slow at first, and I avoid the torps and don't die. So at this point, I'm sitting here and I'm looking. I've got HE loaded. I know he's going to be this direction somewhere. I look to see what the Seattle's doing. He pops radar, and at exactly the same time, I detect the boat. And here he is at very close range. Secondaries were already set, which was good. I dump all my speed here momentarily and get the guns turned around. Got a good turret rotation on this boat here. And so I keep the angles, and boom, boom. And we blap him. So now I'm assuming that there's torpedoes coming from the Kitakazi. We set secondaries, and I've got to get my nose back towards the Iowa. I end up typing to Zen there, I was close, man, and I wanted to be a little more elaborate, but I couldn't. So I mean, if you're watching this, it was close, and I was like, oh shit, here he is. So I was like, I'm gonna get fucked up, but it didn't. So we put some rounds at the Kitakazi. We get some pins, but we don't really do anything. So we get our nose towards the Iowa, because now in this engagement, the Iowa was the biggest threat. But I know that Kitakazi has got to have thrown torps at me. So my decision is to turn all the way around. I've got a lot of health. The Iowa just shot at me. I need to get away from these guys and put some distance between me and those torpedoes. The other thing is the island's blocking the Elise from shooting at me. So at this point, I do my turn, and the Iowa ends up putting a pretty good hit on me, which I knew was going to happen, but I thought I could negate it. It doesn't kill me, but it hurts me. I dumped speed, but it was a little late, and so now I'm down to close to half health. Put another salvo at him, and there's the torpedoes from the Kitakazi. Put another 1,700 damage on the Iowa. It's at this point that I notice El Mulo charges the Elise across the open and dies like a rat, like an idiot. And then the guy starts talking shit to me about how he, just stupid shit. So at this point, I'm trying to go as fast as I can to get guns on this Elise to help him. And of course, the Iowa kills him. And the Elise was working his butt off. I mean, he really was. He's broadside to me. I throw HE at him. Again, another solid hit. 6,400 damage. Forgot about secondaries again, so I set secondaries. As soon as I saw his shoot, I gotta set mine. So I got 2 fires set on me, and I'm focused on getting this next shot. I got 5 seconds to go. We're salvoing back and forth. And I'm just trying to get my darn rounds out. So I get the rounds out, and I actually hit him for like 11,000. Yeah, 11,700. So I hit my repair party. And I put my fires out because he no longer has line of sight on me, and I need to heal as much damage up as I can, so I can't afford to keep taking fire damage where I'm also taking other damage from other boats. Take some more hits here. I've got AP loaded. I noticed the Iowa was turning, so I let one salvo go, look, and I let another salvo go. And he's at 8,000. There was 5,000, and then the rest of his health. Kitakazi's firing at me at range, but I'm not necessarily worried about him. The Elise is the threat. So I thought about turning and putting some rounds in the Kitakazi, but then I thought, well, the Elise is probably going to clear the island. And so I just keep watching. I didn't want to shoot at him because I kind of wanted to get around this island and come back south. And so about the time the Kitakazi goes dark, I get detected immediately again. I go, well, it's got to be the Elise, and I'm pre-aimed at the angle there. And we'll see I drop off, and all of a sudden I'm redetected again. Boop. and boom, there he is. And I go, okay, snapshot with AP. He's at 5,000 damage, broadside, gone. So we're sitting there going, okay, alrighty now. Now it's me versus the Kitakazi. It's the battle of the century here in the fucking epicenter. So I'm still detected, obviously, by the Kitakazis outside of smoke. And I go, okay, I gotta get around this island, get bow in. I tell Mulu to shut the fuck up. And I need to turn around and get back into the engagement. So I think, well, maybe I'm up in points slightly, yada, yada, and I go, no, the DD's going to get back in here. He's going to start capping these points, and I've got to engage him. I've got to go to him. But I want to make him worried about me. I've killed everybody else on his team except for one guy. So obviously I know what I'm doing. And I've hurt him a little bit too. So I go, all right, I got to get back in there and fight him. So what I'm looking for right now is, as I'm aiming into the central dill, they're chatting in the chat like assholes. I'm looking for at what angle I get detected. I want to see, is he an F5 or F6? So I know that as soon as I'm detected, then that means he's at an angle to where he's probably like, so he's capping, so he's inside the zone. But as soon as I'm detected, then that means he can see me line of sight, which kind of tells me, is he on my side or on the, is he on the 5 line or the 6 line? So at this point I'm detected, so I turn hard. That tells me that he's in the 6 line. Is what my prediction was. And so I make a hard turn into the cap zone. The other deal is I wanted to get into the cap to stop him from capping that zone, meaning that at least I'm not making any points, but neither is he, and we're just down to one cap and one cap. I'm up in points as long as I don't die. 6 minutes left in the game, I can do it. So I push in and I'm looking just to see if I detect him. One of the guys calls out that he is low health. I knew he was beat up, but he wasn't all that low. So I've still got one repair party and my damage control is up. Still detected, and he caps the zone. So I move into the zone expecting him to be just due south of me, just hiding up against the edge of the island or something like that. And so I start kind of nosing more in because I assume he's just due south of me, and I'm ready. I want to be ready for the torps. And he actually hurts himself by throwing torps at me, and they appear here in just a minute. And then actually tells me, he starts capping, and then I see the torps, which kind of denotes where he's at. So using this information that we have here, he's capping the outer circle, the central, you got the center point and you got the middle circle. He's capping the middle circle, and these torps came from that angle, which means he can only be in E7 or F7. Most likely F7 because he wants to be as far away as he can be. Because the angle of the torpedoes that he launched and when he started capping. So I went, okay. So he's launched his set of torps, he's missed, but I know that I need to close with him, but I don't know exactly where he is. So what I end up doing is I nose towards this island, and I know that as soon as I'm undetected, then that will tell me exactly what angle from me to him he has to be in to be capping the point, and also be able to spot me. So all of a sudden I know I'm not detected, so that tells me he's got to be in F7, roughly. Now I thought maybe he was hiding in those islands at this point, like he would have jetted into the islands, or it would have been somewhere where he could see me and shoot torps at me again. Not thinking about the Kitakazi having one launcher and having a long reload. So again, what we're looking for is we're looking for the angle at which I get detected. And I want to nose slowly around this island. I say slowly, I want to be as close to the island as I can because the island will block torpedoes for me. But I'm looking for the moment that I get detected, and that will tell me what angle he is from me by when I'm detected. So I'm still in the central cap circle. I wanted to get into the middle cap circle to stop it from capping because the points are still just so close. El Mula is still fucking talking, and so I'm detected. So that tells me that he's either to my left, my 11 o'clock, or he's to my right at 1 o'clock. So I start moving into the central cap circle, and as soon as I move into the central cap circle, he starts capping the middle. So I immediately drop speed and turn in because I assume torps are coming. They never do, but I just assumed that they were. And I went, well, shit, he's made it past me. But I know he's got to be, F5 or 6. He sees me and he's capping, but he didn't see me until I cleared the island. All of a sudden, boom, he pops up. I let a salvo go, set secondaries, pop my reload booster. We put some damage on him, damage his engine, he repairs it. We're reloading. Secondaries start working. I let a blind shot go. I think we end up getting a single hit and set a fire. And we push into that cap zone. So I didn't cap the central, still. But at this point, I knew I needed to kill him anyway, so we've let another salvo go. We've hit him hard again. I'm still expecting torps, but at this point I damaged his torpedo launchers. I don't know if I blew them up or if I just damaged them, but they are hurt, and he just repaired, which means he's not able to get them working. So we're reloaded, and I'm guessing that he's going to park behind the island and torp me, not thinking that, hey, I just knocked out his torpedo tubes. It didn't register. I didn't register that he had a single set of, a single launcher. So he's probably waiting on his reload booster to try and come back. He's probably just about loaded on torpedoes, and at this point, I want to see him at the exact same point he sees me. So all of a sudden I'm detecting he comes out the other side of the island. I'm not sure why he did that. I don't much care. Secondary start working again. I let a salvo go on him. Boom, hit him again. I knew the angle he was at wasn't good for torpedoes, so I start angling in towards the island because he's turning right, which means the further that he goes that way, the harder it's going to be for him to get a proper angle with torpedoes. He's at 2,000 hit points. He's still in open water. I'm still hitting him. I let another salvo go. His engine's damaged. It's just a bad day for him. And boom. Kraken unleashed. 5th kill. Only 145,000 damage or 130,000 damage or something, but still of a pretty wild game. 145,000. And just goes to show that just because the game looks bad, just because the game looks dire, don't just give up. Continue to fight. Continue to dictate your own terms in the engagement. Use the information that's given to you, not just what you see on the map, but what you don't see on the map. Using those islands to predict what angle he is from you and where he can see you and where he could possibly launch torps and do all that kind of stuff is vitally important. Right here, that saved my bacon to go, I'm going to use this island to see where he's at. To use an island and the detection to find out where this destroyer is without RPF, without any kind of assistance. That's high-level tactics that you've got to use when you're fighting in randoms, when you're fighting in clan wars, when you're fighting in ranked battles. And it's vitally important that you use all the faculties that you have available and develop each one of those skills for every boat that you run. Obviously, the bad guys made a lot of mistakes, and that's what any kind of combat comes down to: who makes the most mistakes and who's able to work with those mistakes and actually punish the enemy for having done it. There's a lot of bad torp launches. My team, wasn't as viable. The enemy team was good at focusing targets. They did that, but in focusing those targets, they weren't able to focus me. And because I had pushed that flank and I was in a position to work on that, I ended up knocking those guys out. It was a fortunate game. It worked out very well. I like making Krakens, but I didn't. I would have rather just had a standard victory, honestly. I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions or any comments or noticed anything that I said was wrong or incorrect, please let me know. I want to start doing these videos a lot. I'm going to start doing a lot of warships videos. If you guys have particular boats, I'm up to almost 100 boats that I have premiums. I have just about every premium they got in the game. If you want to start seeing some stuff, please let me know. And if you hadn't subscribed or you hadn't looked at anything, please do. There's a lot of good footage. There's a lot of stuff on this channel. It's been around for 10 years. I've done a lot of flight sim stuff on it. But there's a lot of good videos hidden in there. There's a lot of funny stuff. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time.